In the heart of a bustling city, two neighborhoods stood in stark contrast to one another. On one side lay the cramped streets of Hollow Grove, where the air was thick with tension and uncertainty. The buildings leaned precariously, as if they too felt the weight of anxiety that hung heavily over the residents. Here, the sound of honking horns mixed with distant arguments, each echoing the struggles of a community caught in the grip of scarcity. The people of Hollow Grove often wore expressions of worry, their eyes darting around as if searching for something just out of reach. Conversations were laced with the fear of not having enough money, enough time, enough love. On the other side of the city, just a few blocks away, lay the vibrant neighborhood of Abundance Heights. The streets here were wide and inviting, lined with trees that swayed gently in the breeze. Laughter spilled from cafes where people gathered, sharing ideas and stories over steaming cups of coffee. The air was filled with a sense of possibility, where dreams were not just whispered, but actively pursued. Here, the residents greeted one another with warm smiles, their conversations rich with collaboration and support. In the midst of this contrast was Maya, a woman in her 30s, who had spent much of her life navigating the treacherous waters of a scarcity mindset. With a background that had instilled in her a deep-seated belief that resources were limited, Maya had often found herself trapped in a cycle of anxiety and self-doubt. She remembered the days when she would clutch her purse tightly as she walked through Hollow Grove, convinced that every dollar spent was a dollar lost forever. The constant worry about bills and expenses overshadowed her ability to enjoy life, leaving her feeling isolated and overwhelmed. Maya's journey began on a particularly difficult day when she found herself sitting in her small, dimly lit apartment, surrounded by stacks of unpaid bills. The weight of her financial reality bore down on her, and she felt as though she were suffocating. As she stared at the numbers on the page, a familiar voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of her limitations. "You'll never get ahead. You're not good enough. You don't deserve more." This negative self-talk had become a constant companion, a cruel reminder of her perceived inadequacies. But that day, something shifted within Maya. She recalled a conversation she had overheard in Abundance Heights, where two friends discussed their dreams and the ways they could support each other in achieving them. The words resonated with her, igniting a flicker of hope. What if there was another way to live? What if she could break free from the chains of scarcity that had held her captive for so long? With that thought, Maya embarked on a transformative journey. She began to explore the signs of her scarcity mindset, recognizing how deeply it had influenced her life. Fear had been her constant companion, guiding her decisions and stifling her potential. She had always felt like she was in competition with everyone around her, measuring her worth against the successes of others. This comparison only deepened her feelings of inadequacy, creating a cycle of limitation that felt inescapable. As she delved deeper into her thoughts, Maya realized that her relationships had also suffered under the weight of her scarcity mindset. She had often pushed people away, convinced that they would take something from her: time, energy, or love. The fear of being vulnerable had led her to build walls, isolating herself in the process. She had missed out on the joy of collaboration, the magic that happens when people come together to uplift one another. Maya began to shift her focus, actively cultivating an abundance mindset. She started small, practicing gratitude each day. Each morning, she would write down 3 things she was thankful for, no matter how insignificant they seemed. At first, it felt forced, but gradually, she began to notice the beauty around her. The warmth of the sun on her skin, the laughter of children playing in the park, the aroma of fresh coffee brewing. These moments, once overlooked, became a source of joy and inspiration. With each passing day, Maya felt her perspective begin to change. She started to see opportunities where she once saw obstacles. Instead of viewing her financial situation as a limitation, she began to explore creative ways to manage her money. She sought advice from friends and mentors, learning about budgeting and saving. She discovered that financial literacy was not just about numbers, It was about understanding her relationship with money and how it could work for her rather than against her. Maya also embraced the idea of collaboration over competition. She reached out to her neighbors, inviting them to join her in a community garden project. The initial fear of rejection lingered, but she pushed through, driven by the desire to connect. To her surprise, the response was overwhelmingly positive. People from all walks of life came together, sharing their skills, stories, and laughter. The garden flourished, but more importantly, so did the relationships. Bonds were formed, and a sense of belonging blossomed in a place where isolation had once reigned. As Maya continued her journey, she began to notice the profound impact of her newfound mindset on her overall well-being. The anxiety that had once gripped her began to loosen its hold. She found herself sleeping better, her mind no longer racing with worries about scarcity. Instead, she felt a sense of peace and contentment, a realization that life was not a finite resource to be hoarded, but an abundant gift to be embraced. Maya's transformation was not without its challenges. There were days when old habits resurfaced, when the whispers of self-doubt crept back in. Yet she learned to recognize these moments as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. She practiced self-compassion, reminding herself that the journey from scarcity to abundance was not linear, but rather a winding path filled with lessons and insights. Through her experiences, Maya discovered practical steps that anyone could take to transition from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. She encouraged others to engage in self-reflection, asking themselves what beliefs were holding them back. She emphasized the importance of gratitude, suggesting that they start small by acknowledging the good in their lives, no matter how trivial it may seem. Maya also highlighted the power of collaboration, urging individuals to seek out connections rather than viewing others as competitors. She shared her own experience with the community garden, illustrating how working together can lead to greater fulfillment and joy. In a world that often promotes individualism, she emphasized the beauty of shared success and the strength found in unity. As her journey unfolded, Maya began to see the ripple effect of her transformation. Friends and neighbors who had once been caught in their own cycles of scarcity began to shift their perspectives as well. They shared their commitments to embracing abundance, creating a supportive community that thrived on collaboration and positivity. The energy in Abundance Heights was infectious, and it spread beyond the neighborhood, inspiring others to reflect on their own mindsets. Maya understood that embracing abundance was not solely about financial growth. It was about fostering fulfilling relationships, vibrant health, and a purposeful life. She realized that true abundance encompasses all aspects of existence, emotional, mental, and spiritual. It is about recognizing that life is rich with possibilities, waiting to be explored and embraced. As she stood in the community garden one sunny afternoon, surrounded by friends and laughter, Maya felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey she had undertaken. She had transformed not only her own life, but had become a beacon of hope for others. The fear and limitations that had once defined her were replaced with confidence and opportunity. Maya invited those around her to share their commitments to this journey, reinforcing a shared sense of growth and support. Each person spoke of their own struggles and dreams, weaving a tapestry of experiences that highlighted the beauty of vulnerability and connection. In that moment, it became clear that the journey from scarcity to abundance was not just a personal endeavor, but a collective one, capable of creating a ripple effect of positivity in the community. As the sun set over Abundance Heights, casting a warm glow over the garden, Maya felt a renewed sense of purpose. She understood that the journey was ongoing, that there would always be challenges to face and lessons to learn. But with each step forward, she was reminded of the power of choice, the choice to embrace abundance, to foster connection, and to live a life filled with gratitude and possibility. In a world that often feels divided and limited, Maya's story serves as a powerful reminder that transformation is possible. By shifting our mindsets, we can unlock the potential within ourselves and inspire others to do the same. The journey from scarcity to abundance is not just about what we have, It is about who we become and the impact we have on those around us. As you reflect on your own life, consider the areas where scarcity may be holding you back. What fears do you carry? How do they influence your relationships and well-being? Take a moment to acknowledge those feelings, but don't let them define you. Embrace the possibility of abundance and let it guide you toward a life filled with opportunity, joy, and connection. In the end, the journey is yours to define. Embrace it fully and watch as the ripple effect of your transformation spreads, creating a community rich with abundance and kindness.